Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 6th annual Bill Iwin Environmental Justice Award ceremony. My name is Anya Jansen, and I'm a staff attorney for Native Nations Partnerships here at Midwest Environmental Advocates. This is a newer role within MEA, created to have a full-time staff attorney dedicated to providing support and legal services to Native nations in Wisconsin. Before we recognize and honor our three awardees this evening, I'd like to start us off by acknowledging that in Wisconsin, we are on traditional and present-day homelands of the Dakota, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Mohegan, Mohican, Ojibwe, Oneida, Pequot, and Potawatomi nations. Most of these nations and their people remain present within what we now call Wisconsin. It is important to acknowledge this relationship and our shared stewardship of not only the lands, but also the waters, from the four lakes in Dajope to the shores of Michigami or Lake Michigan and Gitchigami, Lake Superior. These acknowledgements are particularly significant for an organization like MEA as we work to protect the rights of all people to healthy land and water. As part of that mission, MEA is committed to supporting Native nations through the work that we do as we continue to build and strengthen our relationships with tribal leaders. It is an absolute honor and privilege to do this work. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight, and I will now hand it off to MEA's Executive Director, Tony Wilken-Gabbard. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anya. Before we get started with the presentation, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors for their generous support of Midwest Environmental Advocates. They've made our work and this event in particular possible. So I want to start by thanking our presenting sponsor, which is Delta Properties. And I want to thank our other sponsors, which include Carson, Black, O'Callahan, and Battenberg, Fitzpatrick, Skemp, and Butler, Boardman Clark, Healing and Kao, and Pinesbach. These sponsors and so many of you in attendance tonight contribute to Midwest Environmental Advocates. You make our work possible, and we're so grateful for your generosity. Some of you may know that this year, 2024, we are celebrating our 25th anniversary at Midwest Environmental Advocates. Many of you know that Midwest Environmental Advocates is a nonprofit environmental law center that combines the power of law with the resolve of communities facing environmental injustice to secure and protect the rights of all people to healthy water, land, and air. 25 years ago, we were founded by Melissa Scanlon, who is then a young law graduate returning to Wisconsin, and she was determined to level the playing field for Wisconsin families, level the playing field between wealthy special interests that have the resources to hire environmental attorneys and lobbyists, and everyday community members who are so often left out of environmental decision-making that affects the health of their lives and their communities. So for over a quarter of a century, we have had the honor at Midwest Environmental Advocates as serving as Wisconsin's nonprofit environmental law center for grassroots environmental leaders like our award winners tonight. These grassroots environmental justice leaders who speak up and organize their communities, they're our clients and they're our closest partners. And we're so grateful to be able to come together tonight and honor three such individuals, Paul Demain, Marco Marquez, and Lee Donahue. Thank you all for being here tonight. This really is one of my favorite evenings of the entire year, and that's because it really is an opportunity just to take a step back for a moment and reflect on what it means to have the kind of leadership that we have from these three individuals in our movement in Wisconsin. You know, so often with environmental advocacy, we're running from, coalition meetings to drafting filings to responding to emails. This is an evening where we get to take a step back and think about those who dedicate themselves to building a just and healthy future for their communities and for future generations. We get to take a step back and marvel at what makes these three individuals tick. And we get to celebrate the gift of people who are committed to something far bigger than themselves. And thinking about that right now in this particular moment when Many of us are inundated with messages of coarseness and scapegoating when so-called leaders are trying to divide us and sowing division. I think it's especially important right now that we just take this opportunity to not overlook another form of leadership, a positive form of leadership that's right there in our midst in these three individuals and in so many others in our movement, and to not take that form of leadership for granted. So, to our award winners and to all of you who are joining us, who in your own advocacy efforts have chosen hope over cynicism and given the gift of your time, your energy, and your care, we thank you. Um, Thinking a little bit about our three award winners, one of the common threads that came to mind for me was the deep sense of responsibility that these three individuals have embraced, not only to speak up for others, but to help others use their voice. And often we think of that word responsibility, we think of a burden. And no doubt, Paul, Marco, and Lee, I'm sure at many times have felt the weight of responsibility, but in my observations of them and their work, it also seems like responsibility has been a profound source of strength for them because it's clear in what they do that their commitment is born out of a sustaining connection that they have to the people and the places that they hold dear. And their stories of leadership and activism, I think, really show us that when we truly embrace the goodness of the earth, when we embrace the goodness of the land, the water, and the air that sustains us, we're changed by that and we become better ourselves. We are drawn to become better stewards for future generations. We've really had the honor to get to work with these three individuals. Their efforts throughout the years have inspired us and made us better advocates. And so we're really grateful for the opportunity to get to share more about them and their work. We're excited to do that. So I'm going to turn it over to our staff attorney at MEA, Rob Lee, who will present tonight's first award. Take it away, Rob.
Thanks so much, Tony, and good evening. Uh, it's interesting because soon after I started as a staff attorney at MEA almost 6 years ago, my work almost immediately began to include oil pipelines, and almost immediately I met Paul DeMain. And very quickly, I understood the tremendous value that he brings to basically anything that he puts his mind to. And for the last 5+ years, I've had the opportunity to work with Paul in various capacities and have had a front row seat to his unwavering opposition to oil pipelines, including the continued operation of Line 5 in northern Wisconsin. It's been a real treat to watch him work. Now I chose that word value, right? He adds tremendous value. I chose that carefully. Of course, the extractive industries that Paul has spent so many years fighting against, like the oil and gas industry, only think of value in terms of converting natural resources into profit margins. And from my experience with Paul, he thinks about value in a very fundamentally different way, right? Clean water and healthy ecosystems having intrinsic value, and that are not necessarily resources just to be extracted and commodified, as they so often are, and at a great cost to neighboring communities and ecosystems. I've been told that Paul has understood this from a rather young age. His connection to water and nature began to form during his childhood in Wausau, Wisconsin, where he spent a significant amount of time around the Wisconsin River, Lake Wausau, and other natural locations. And this early bond with water has deeply influenced his lifelong commitment to environmental protection. And Paul has become a vocal advocate for its protection. In the 70s, Paul moved to the Lakota Reservation to edit their tribal newspaper, becoming a leader in environmental advocacy. Paul's work as a journalist, including editing news from Indian country and producing for Indian country TV, has been pivotal in raising awareness about environmental issues and inspiring action. Paul's advocacy even extends to speaking at funerals, honoring individuals who have lived off the land and using these moments to express gratitude to the earth. Ultimately, his environmental advocacy is more about just protecting water. It's about preserving a way of life. Climate change and pollution threaten the traditional practices of the Ojibwe people, making it harder to live off the land. And Paul's work really highlights the interconnectedness of environmental health and cultural survival, emphasizing the need for balance in all aspects of life. And despite the challenges we face, Paul remains hopeful. He believes in the power of education and activism to bring about change and see promise in younger generations who are also eager to take action against climate change. Paul, the values, to come back to that word that you embody, are those I think we should all strive to embrace. And while you may find opportunity to often express gratitude to the earth, we do not often enough express our gratitude to you. So with that, I believe we have some footage of others speaking just how much you and your work mean to them.
Rob, let me talk while she's fixing that, and maybe we can watch it afterwards just to keep things going, if that's okay.
That's just fine with me. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, because I know sometimes I've worked around Indian country TV and around technology stuff, and it's so wonderful when it works, and it so bogs things down when some little switch isn't quite right. But I want to really express my deep appreciation just of the introduction this evening that you gave about some of my work and observations, because it is a situation where you go about trying to fulfill what are really responsibilities. I mean, we talk a lot about treaty rights, but with treaty rights along with that comes the responsibility to exercise those rights with prudence and with virtue, with sustainability, and those kinds of things. But you brought back memories of my childhood and great big yellow-orange carp in Lake Wausau years before it was cleaned up and everything. And every time I go back to Wausau to visit my hometown there, I see that they're cleaning up the riverside. They continue to work on the old industrial area. And you see the issues that corporate capitalism in some cases have left to the river valley of Wausau and Rib Mountain area. You have several EPA cleanup sites there. We've had tremendous cleanup along the riverside to make it workable for people again in the public to walk along and enjoy it. And I just want to say that the work that I do, inspired by my mother, inspired by Governor Anthony S. Earl, inspired by Gaylord Nelson and politicians that I grew up around who were elders when I sat under their table while my mother stuffed envelopes and those kinds of things, really left an impression on me that said that I ought to be giving back to society on a regular basis and giving back to the community and really getting into the community at a level that people could understand simple things like clean water, deer that are free of chronic wasting disease, fish that you can eat that don't have forever chemicals in them and those things. So I don't know if the video is ready to go. If anyone wants to
That
speak.
gave me the thumbs up here, so I think that we're ready to give it a try. Thank you, Paul, for your
Thank you
words.
so much.
Congratulations, Paul, on receiving MEA's Community and Environmental Justice Award. Your work protecting water, and especially in opposition to Line 5, has been inspirational and is much appreciated. The events you envisioned and then hosted have brought Native and non-Native communities together. For all of your work, gee miigwech, and again, congratulations.
I first met Paul Demain fighting the Pinocchio mine. We had some mining tribunals down in Madison. Went to a lot of hearings and he videoed it all, so I admired his technical skills and then his vision in establishing the harvest camp in the Pinocchios. And we did defeat the Pinocchio mine. That's one of our victories. So since then, saw him out Standing Rock in December of 2016, handing out manoomin and wool hats and mittens. and have worked together against Line 5 reroute around the Bad River Reservation. So congratulations, Paul. Well deserved, and look forward to working with you in the future. Miigwech.
Congratulations! I can't think of anyone more deserving of a Community and Environmental Justice Award than you. All those years you have served us so well, from the Kudare Journal to News from Indian Country TV, Ojibwe Akin, the list goes on and on. Your investigative work surrounding the Leonard Peltier case was fearless. You've been such a great model for us and a standard bearer for Native American journalists. I'm so proud to know you, and miigwech for being such a resource for us here in Indian Country.
I would like to congratulate you on receiving the Environmental Justice Award from the Midwest Environmental Advocates. You're very deserving of this award. I'm also looking forward to presenting to you this bandolier bag, this Anishinaabe bag. And the colors in the bag represent the life force across this region of the land, the water, and the air. I'm also looking forward to it being danced for the beavers and the waters of the Western Great Lakes by your granddaughter to uphold and defend these tribal usufructuary rights across our region, as you have done for many years. Thank you for your service.
Congratulations. Gosh, it seems just like yesterday we were doing the Pinocchio Hills Education Summit. And all those years that have transpired, it's been such an honor to get to know you and become a part of your family and pull off all the stuff that we've done together. And we keep laughing about how it gets easier every year. And now I heard you won this award and I thought, okay, now you're going and winning some awards for what you're doing. And well, you should.
Congratulations, Paul! Miigwech!
Miigwech. Paul, would you like to say anything else?
I'm just kind of overwhelmed by allies. And I just want to remind people that any individual can do wonderful things, but they really need their team support. You saw some of the team support, and with assistance from organizations like yours, the Midwest Environmental Justice Network, and everyone that's there and the support they give, you inspire us back. You inspire people like me to keep moving forward. I was thinking just the other day that I ought to retire pretty soon, but I think I've been inspired to stay the course for a while. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Paul. That's great news for all of us. Thank you for saying that and sharing that. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Skylar Harris, who is MEA's Climate Justice Fellow, who will introduce our next awardee. Skylar, take it away.
Thanks, Tony. Good evening, everyone. It is my honor to present this next award to Marco Marquez. Marco is the Wisconsin State Director of Action for the Climate Emergency, an organization that works to build and support youth activism in the fight against climate change. He also serves on the board of directors for Wisconsin Conservation Voters. Over his last 5 years with ACE, Marco has worked directly with Wisconsin's high school youth to challenge high-profile fossil fuel expansion projects like Enbridge's proposed reroute of the Line 5 pipeline in northern Wisconsin. Some of those students, now in college, have continued the fight for climate justice by volunteering their time to MEA's initiatives. As part of my work as MEA's Climate Justice Fellow, I've personally witnessed the passion, intellect, and perspective that Marco's former students have brought to the climate justice movement. I know I speak for everyone at MEA when I say that we are grateful to Marco for helping to foster a generation of leaders who are conscientious and passionate about fighting for a climate that is safe for everyone. Marco, in a recent conversation, you told me how surprised you were to be nominated for this award. Here's a video from your colleagues and community members to explain exactly what your efforts in the fight against climate change have meant to them and why your receipt of this award should come as no surprise at all.
Hi Marco, it's Jeriel here, and I just wanted to give a huge congratulations to you on this much-deserved recognition. Since the day I joined ACE 3 years ago, I saw how much work and passion you pour into your job and the youth that you work with. I hope you know that none of it goes unnoticed, and I appreciate you and all that you do from the bottom of my heart. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be on the path that I'm currently on. I hope you know that your coworkers and ACE family in Wisconsin and all across the country think so highly of you, including myself. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for taking a chance on me. And thank you for showing me the leadership and inspiration that someone who looks like me can bring. So again, congratulations on your award. You deserve every single bit of it.
It is such a pleasure to work with you and watch you bring young people into the movement to stop climate change. It's inspiring for the students you work with, and even more inspiring for all of us who get to partner with you and them. Whether it's work to get more clean energy or work to stop new fossil fuels like We Energy's gas plants or Enbridge's Line 5, you bring joy, humor, and hope into the movement. Thank you for everything you do, and congratulations again on this well-deserved award.
Hi Marco, I just wanted to wish you a huge congratulations on receiving MEA's Bill Iwan Award this year. Your commitment and passion for climate action made it such an honor to work with you, and I'm so happy that your hard work is getting recognized in this way. Congratulations.
I've seen your great leadership with Action for the Climate Emergency. I remember, especially in Madison, you're bringing a group of students there and having a real presence at the Dane County Farmers Market. And more recently at the We Energy's rate case, bringing a great bunch of students there. I could hear them from the second floor inside the building, and bringing great attention to the energy burden issue, and some of them giving wonderful testimony as well. You've really obviously inspired them, you've inspired me and a lot of other people, and I really appreciated also your partnership in presenting on energy burden at the Midwest Renewable Energy Fair. So I look forward to your continued great work, and again, congratulations on this fine award.
Hey Marco, congratulations on this award. I can't think of anyone more deserving. I have gone to so many climate events in the last couple years where it was the ACE students who were first in line to talk to decision makers, asking them the tough questions and really holding them accountable. It's no question we're going to need more climate leaders in our state to realize the vision that we need for everyone to be safe and healthy. And I can't think of anyone who's doing more to develop those leaders than you are. Congratulations, and thanks for everything you're doing.
You are so deserving of this recognition and more. I'm so glad that you've been a part of my journey for climate action and my career.
Your work to bring more youth voices into the climate justice movement is ringing around Wisconsin and making a massive difference in a lot of our fights against fossil fuels and for a brighter future. So thank you for all you do every single day. We see you as partners across Wisconsin, and we are honored to work alongside you. Congrats.
I am pleased to present the 2024 Bill Iwan Environmental Justice Award to Marco Marquez. Marco, if you'd like to unmute yourself and make a few remarks.
Yeah, well, hi, everybody. It is such an honor to be here, such an honor to receive this award. So thank you all so much for organizing all of this. I am really just kind of taken aback by all of the kind words, but also such an honor to be one of the recipients alongside Paul and Lee as well. Such amazing organizers and leaders in their communities. I'm just so appreciative of it, and I recognize the importance of the work, but also, I wouldn't be here in this position without the young people that I work with each and every day, coming from working with them just a couple hours ago. That's why I'm dressed out in my ACE gear. But yeah, young people are incredibly passionate about this issue. As Paul was saying, it's about water, it's about land, it's about air, but it's about us too. Everyone thinks about climate change as a fight for our future, but it's a fight for right now as well. And the young people are seeing that every single day. And I think something that's been a challenge in the past, but is quickly changing thanks to organizations like MEA and all the amazing partners that I've been able to work with, is that there was a lot of maybe apathy, even some hopelessness or helplessness from young people when they see all of the videos or the images coming from the news or being shown on social media. And they didn't know what to do about it. They didn't see their leaders doing anything about it. So it could feel very scary. But that's what I'm here to do. That's what so many of you are here to do, is to give them an outlet, show them that they have power as well, and they can hold their own in a meeting with Governor Evers or the EPA or congressional representatives, and that their voice matters, that their life matters, even if they're not old enough to vote yet. They're still a constituent no matter what. They still live here, and they still deserve clean air, clean water, clean land, and a planet where they can thrive and have fun. And that's, you know, the last key that I like to highlight is, and I know everyone realizes this in this movement, is that you have to have fun. This is about relationships that we build not only with the earth but with each other. Yeah, this movement would not be as strong, as prolific, and as healthy as it is without building the amazing relationships we all have with one another. That's what it's about, and we've got to have fun while we do it, and take time to appreciate all of the work that we put in, and just, yeah, enjoy every day while we've got it. So I'm really enjoying today. So thank you all so much. And yeah, just appreciate everyone in this room, and all of the effort that's gone in to get me here and to get everyone else here as well. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Marco. That's really well said. So thank you for all of your work. I have the honor of presenting our last award to Lee Donahue. And thinking about this, I first met Lee Donahue back in 2021. And because the pandemic was still going on, we met in a park shelter in Plainview Park on French Island. And as we were sitting there talking, getting to know one another, we looked across the road to La Crosse Regional Airport, where for decades, the use of PFAS firefighting foam contaminated the aquifer under French Island and thereby contaminated the drinking water for Lee's hometown, the town of Campbell, making it really one of the worst sites of PFAS contamination anywhere in the state. So Lee is a town supervisor, and under the best of circumstances, being a local government official, a town supervisor is a thankless job. But thinking about taking on that responsibility when your town is facing the generational challenge of regaining its right to clean drinking water, that is an enormous challenge. Lee did not shy away from that challenge. She met it with just tremendous resolve that we've all seen. For years, she has fought for the resources and the policy solutions for her town, for her constituents, all while bringing the stories and the experiences of French Island residents to policymakers on a state level so that the entire state is better protected from forever chemicals. In getting to know Lee a little bit, I think it's safe to say, like most of us Midwesterners, she doesn't necessarily wear her emotions on her sleeve, but I've seen many times where she doesn't hold back, and perhaps she can't hold back in talking about what clean water means to her and her community. When she travels to Madison to tell lawmakers about the child in the town of Campbell who asked Santa for clean water for Christmas, or when she delivers messages for her friends and her neighbors who are suffering from thyroid disease, from Parkinson's, and from rare forms of cancer. You can hear a distinct pain in Lee's voice that is real, but you can also hear her determination. And that's something that stays with me. PFAS are called forever chemicals because they will be here for a long time. And this is an issue that all of us, and especially folks on French Island, will be dealing with for a long time. But in a relatively short amount of time, Lee has been behind significant wins and significant progress towards securing safe water for her community. And as I mentioned, also improving statewide policy so that all of us in Wisconsin are better off for her efforts. I know that I, like many others, owe Lee a debt of gratitude for the impact that her advocacy has had. Lee, on behalf of all of us, thank you. And we've got As you've probably gathered by now, the pattern, we've got a video with others thanking you. We'll play that.
Congrats, Lee. It is such a privilege to know you and to get to work in coalition with you. And I'm just so grateful for everything you do for Campbell and for all of Wisconsin to ensure that every person can turn on their tap and know that the water coming out of it is safe to drink.
You are searching for a long-term, safe water solution as ethically as you approach everything else in your life. You do your own research. You consult with reliable sources throughout the world. You network with communities across the state, and you do the hard, often frustrating work of trying to convince the legislature and the Natural Resources Board to do the right thing for the people of Wisconsin. I am so fortunate to call you mentor, colleague, and friend.
You know how to motivate the grassroots, to tell them to write 1,000 letters if necessary, and of course to always show up. You do show up, including high testimony at the national level to the EPA, lobbying the state. You are finding solutions from the filters that people need to try to clean their PFAS contaminated waters to locating an alternative source of clean water. Pretty amazing.
Congratulations, Lee. It has been such an honor getting to know you in this mess of a fight, which is PFAS advocacy. And I want to thank you for your intentional leadership for your community, but also for the entire state of Wisconsin.
The other hallmark of your leadership is you have not been willing to accept proposals that might have been okay for your community in the short term, but would have made it harder for other communities that face PFAS contamination. And on top of all of that, when other communities have arisen, you have offered your time and counsel to them to help them with their issue.
We are privileged and honored to work with you toward PFAS advocacy across the state of Wisconsin. And we thank you for your intellect, your character, your perseverance, and just the class act wonderful lady that you are.
I am so amazed at your devotion to bringing safe, clean water to your community, and I'm so proud to be a colleague of yours. Congratulations, Lee.
Lee, it's our honor to present the 2024 Bill Iwin Environmental Justice Award to you. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you all so very much. I am truly only here tonight because of the environmental giants who have mentored me, and I sincerely am honored to be here with both Paul and Marco and so many others who just have such a commitment to our environment, and I thank you all. Laura, Cindy, Vicki, Jeff, Michael, Beth, Cheryl, thank you for teaching me. Thank you for supporting me. I will never be able to repay all of the time and effort that you put in every single day to be a catalyst for change, for significant change, and not just settling for what might be an okay answer. You know, we want real answers. My family moved to Campbell nearly 20 years ago. And what a great location to raise a family. You know, living on a small island that's hugged by the mighty Mississippi on one side and the Black River on the other side. Our garage is kayak Jenga. Imagine, it's a big base canoe. And on top of that are 3 stand-up paddle boards. And on top of that are 4 kayaks. We enter the garage very carefully. In winter, we ice skate and we play hockey and broomball out on Lake Onalaska. We teach our scouts how to tip and empty and ride a canoe, how to practice safe water and ice rescues. And then 4 years ago, my relationship with all this water suddenly changed. We quit drinking our water and even using it to water our raspberries. And if somebody told me then that 4 years later, I would still be drinking bottled water. I would have challenged them vigorously. And yet Campbell and so many other communities in Wisconsin are still reeling from toxic impacts. It might be PFAS or nitrates or lead or so many other contaminants. The challenge then becomes, how do you remediate that contamination? Right? These toxins saturate the soil, they saturate the water, and it's very expensive and in some cases nearly impossible to make them safe again. And sometimes people don't understand, right? There's not a moat around my community that is preventing this water from traveling to other municipalities nearby. There's no moat around Campbell or Peshtigo or Stella, Eau Claire, Rhinelander, and the list goes on that prevents those toxic plumes from growing, from moving, and devastating other communities and waterways. And that's why it is so important to ban non-essential PFAS. We all share an aquifer with our neighboring municipalities, whether we have private wells or public wells, right? We all have straws stuck into these same aquifers. And it's that same groundwater that's serving our regions. We may have different hydrogeologic features, bedrock or sandstone or dams and rivers, which affect the groundwater flow. But the sad truth is, no matter how that water flows, it's leaving a legacy of contamination that may outlive us, our kids, future generations. We are all intrinsically connected, and we must deeply care for each other. We must protect these natural resources. One voice in the wilderness is not enough. You cannot grow an aquifer. You can't buy an aquifer. You need to preserve and protect them. And so tonight, I thank my family, everybody on this meeting tonight. My husband, Tim, my kids, Christopher and Stephanie, my environmental family, who are so committed to change, but also invigorated for the future. Together, we can address this toxic health crisis, and we must advocate for technology and innovative strategies to save our water, to save our state, to save our residents. Thank you again so very much.
Thank you so much, Lee. I think one thing that's clear about you, that's also clear about Marco and Paul, is that all three of you, with your words and your actions, you'll continue to shape the future in ways that we're not able to measure right now, that will reverberate for years to come. You've all been a force for change in helping build up this community of advocates that we also appreciate. And we're just so grateful for your contributions. Another way that all three of you will have a lasting impact is through organizations that you've helped found or volunteered at or worked for or supported in other ways. And so as part of the award tonight, MEA will be making a donation in your honor to organizations that you've selected and that is close to your work. So Paul has chosen the Native American Educational Technology Organization. Lee has designated that a gift be made to United Campus Ministry, and Marco has selected that a donation be made to Wisconsin Conservation Voices. We're glad to be able to do that in your honor. So as we close, I want to one last time express our thanks and our gratitude to our award winners. As I said at the top, they have been a source of inspiration for us at Midwest Environmental Advocates through good times and through challenges. And again, we're really grateful for the opportunity to just take a moment tonight to pause, to rest in that gratitude for the work that they've done, for the kinds of leaders that they have been for us, and to all of you who have joined us, who in many ways have been part of our work and our community. Thank you. It's been an inspiring night for me, and I'm sure it has for others. So let's take this inspiration and carry it forward. Let's continue to lift one another up, and have confidence that the collective work that we do will have power for years to come. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you for joining us, and everyone have a great night.